Hello. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. Everybody out there in YouTube land, around the world, around the country, whatever. Had a couple technical difficulties, so I didn't have anything to drink. I had to get something to drink, so I've got some hot drink and got a dog bark out there. It's very irritating. I fed her too. I don't know what she's barking about. I'm gonna go out after this and try to figure that out, or maybe not. I don't really care. I can't hear her from the bedroom, so no big deal. She can bark all night if I want. My son is actually at Tabernacles, which is great. I'm glad. They're staying in a cabin, but not tabernacling. I said, God's divine cold weather training. He said, yeah, I know I like to camp, but, wife's pregnant and whatnot, so. If you're out there and this is the time of year to do it, so I'm going to say this again. I said it before. Tabernacles is God's extreme cold weather camping training for the Exodus, and that may happen this year. I'm telling you. Tony, YouTube channel called God Rules, also called Sons of Thunder. It's got two or three or four different channels. Maybe it's the 15th channel. I don't know. But Tony with God Rules, he's got a lot of stuff on the astronomy and movement of the stars and the sun and the moon and all that. This Revelation sign in Revelation 12 and Daniel's timeline and whatnot. But I was watching him today, and he said, I don't know how I missed this before, but he did. And he said that all these stars are lined up in a line. But anyway, I was going to say something about that. This is the first time, or to his knowledge, where the Tabernacles came after the blood moons. So first time. And he said that I got a screenshot in here. I'll read it to you. So I didn't want to start there. I'm going to start that. As he says, we're going to go through a ton of stuff in this video, a ton of stuff. His video is always about an hour long. It's very hard to get through them. And he doesn't have any chapter titles, chapter sections. So it's hard to, I just pause it and scroll through the transcript, but it's hard to pick up in a transcript what I really want to see, because he'll have a little, news point there, and that's what I wanted to hear, but it's hard to find them sometimes. So anyway, I'm going to go try to remember to come back to that. I'm not going to do it now because I'm set up to talk about a couple other things. So what I want to talk about, one is the whole Hurricane Helene situation. And I'm telling you, this is just my perspective, but I think it's very accurate. In Chronicles, it says that the men of Issachar were men of the times who had understanding of the times, and they knew what Israel ought to do. And I think that's something that some people are given that capability. And I think that's one thing I have is an understanding of the times and what Israel ought to do. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of them, but here's the thing is, what I'm seeing, I've been watching a lot of videos of assessment, just ruminating and praying about them. And I'm going to read some sections here from Bear Independent. This is Bear Nation. The YouTube channel is Bear Independent. His name's TJ, but he has some phenomenal insights because he was there on the ground within a few days of the hurricane happening. His people got on, 2 or 3 guys went in, his director of operations went in to set it up for him and got the communications going. They had Amron and Aries in there, and ham radio operators going, a system of communication. He said, without communication, you don't have anything. You can't do logistics without communication. So they got communication going. They went in, they're still there. They still got people there, but they have done a phenomenal job. I say that guy could be president of the United States. Anyway, or governor of his state or whatever. Somebody you could trust to do the right thing. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about the fact that bizarre things happen there. And he is understand this. You got to go to one of the videos here is called North Carolina Helene Atrocities with Billy Bond. And Billy Bond is with Passion. He's a pimp. Passion and permaculture. passion is my permaculture is my passion. Pimp, P-I-M-P, yeah. Permaculture is my passion. So look up his channel and subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Bear Independent. This is on Bear's channel, Bear Independent. But did an interview. Billy was interviewing him. Billy Bond was interviewing him. Now, both these guys, I don't know about Bear, but Billy was military, so he's got a lot of military background, National Guard and whatnot. And fascinating interview. I'm telling you, I'm going to read some of it here. So my point is this, is that some bizarre things happen there. And what I'm going to just preface it without going into a lot of detail at the point. I just want to summarize what I see. Here's what I see is that this is not the last time this is going to happen. Something like this is going to happen. It's going to be worse than this. Now, some people are saying this wasn't as bad as Katrina. It wasn't as bad as a tornado. Tell that to the 30,000 people that are dead or so. They're not here anymore. Okay, you can't tell them. They're gone. I don't know how many, who knows how many. When Katrina happened, I was keeping track. I had a tab in my computer, my desktop at home. I was keeping tabs, okay, that 200 people, they found 200 bodies on the top of this Kmart and 300 bodies on the top of this Target. And, died of starvation and not starvation, but no, exposure, cold, heat, dehydration, or just killing each other. But anyway, my point is this, that I kept track of, 200 here, 200 here, 200 here, 200 here. And the official death toll is like, 1,013, something like that. Official death toll here is like 213. Baloney. There's like thousands. An entire town of people disappeared. One survivor, one single woman survived out of a town of about 40 families, maybe 100 people or so. One survivor. That's 99 dead bodies in that. And he said 30-foot walls of mud came through some of those areas, those communities. He said they're going to be finding bodies for 1,000 years. You're never going to find them all. One body washed into Tennessee. One guy ended up in Tennessee. So. But I tell you that to say this. This was a very bad situation. It's not going to be the worst thing we're going to see. Things are going to get worse from here on out. Maybe progressively worse, maybe geometrically worse, maybe exponentially worse. Like here's a graph. Instead of going gradually increasing, coming down, you're just going to go like this. Boom. Vertical. Boom. But here's the point is that things are going to get worse and they're going to get darker, but they're going to get lighter too. Darkness is going to get stronger and light is going to get stronger. And I want to give you some examples of that here before long. Some of the experiences they had there. Also, Wrangler Star, if you're not familiar with him, Wrangler Star, one of the most branded channels in the world. His little Wrangler Star is a wrangler, like a cowboy wrangler with a rope, roping a star, tying his thing to a star. So, but he went there. And here's the bizarre thing. Here's the thing. This is so amazing. He told his wife, Mrs. W, Mrs. Wrangler Star, nobody knows her name. That's fine. That they were going to go. He wanted to go. And he said, I'm going to call him and see what I can do. And so he put in a word, that he wanted to come out. And you have to be vetted. You can't go just drive out there. You got to be vetted. So one day went by and the missus said, hey, have you heard anything? No. 2 days, have you heard anything? No. 3 days, have you heard anything? No. You mind if I try? Within a couple of hours, she got a phone number and he called Bear, TJ. And he said, I'm Wrangler Star. And he goes, come on out. Don't need to vet that guy. Very cool. So he went out there and TJ specifically asked him to make content to cover what he could of what he had time to do. And he went out there to work, yeah, but he specifically asked to make content because that's more important. I mean, this guy you gotta understand, Wrangler Star has like 3 million subscribers. In 2013, I think it was 2013 or 14, he and his wife they got the award for the best channel in the world on YouTube. The best channel in the entire world back then. They won't give it to him now because they don't like him anymore. I mean, they can't dump him because he's got too many followers. But my point is that Okay, live. Yeah, watch your mouth. Maybe. Okay, forget that. Anyway, so anybody on? No. Hey, how you doing? Anyone want to say anything? What is that one? I don't know. Open live chat. Okay. What does that mean? I hate all this crap. Hey Jim, how you doing? Blessings, sir. So anyway, my point is that rewind. I was talking about Wrangler Star being there and making content. Okay, because some people are complaining like, don't get in there just lollygag around and just do content. Just go around filming stuff. Well, people that are living there. One lady was in tears. She said, "Don't tell people that." She said, the world needs to know what's going on here. And there's no way the world's going to know unless people get the information out there and do videos about it. So don't tell them not to come out and do videos. Now, don't just go out there and just do that and fly around and take up airspace. I mean, a lot of the politicians out there doing that, they're just wasting everybody's time because they make everybody else stand down while they're doing their PR or their public relations crap. Not good. So anyway, but yeah, Bear asked Wrangler Star to make content, and he was. And he had a little bit of a run-in with the guy. The guy said, "We're here to work, not make content." And he's upset with him. And you can watch the video. I'm not even going to. I'm not going to recap it, but just watch that video with one of the very last day or two by Wrangler Star. He tells a story. He first told a story about the guy named Joe that he worked with. He was on his saw crew. They asked him to run a saw crew because they knew he was good. They knew his capability. They had a lot of 200 projects to do, and so they asked him they said, "Here's 5 targets." They say, these are her targets, places to go and get something done. And will you take a saw crew and go out and do that? And he said, "Yeah, sure." So he did. But he's making a little bit of content, just not taking any time from work, really, just doing it quickly as much as he can. They say he was staying up to after 1 o'clock in the morning. And one story was 1 o'clock in the morning, some young guys came out to talk to him, and he's trying to get his stuff uploaded. And finally, a lady came out and said, "Look, boys, leave him alone." And he was like, "Thank you, woman. Thank you, lady." Anyway, my point is that he wasn't taking a lot of time. He's a very efficient worker, very good, hard worker. But this guy gave him a hard time about it. Anyway, that's a really interesting interaction story because it turned out really, really good. This Joe guy became his most trusted worker. He gave him a job to go do all on his own. He kept him coming. He did good. He was the best on communication, good worker, just a quiet guy, just a quiet worker. He just went out and got things done. And he became one of those trusted people, even though they almost got into a fist fight at one point, so. I know my voice is not doing good. I'm sorry. Crap. I don't know why. Shouldn't be that way. Okay, so things are going to get better and things are going to get worse. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you. Be aware. Have all your preparation done as possible, obviously. I'm not even going to go into that. That physical preparation is really not that important at this point in time. You need to get spiritually prepared. We got some changes coming down in this country, and if you're not aware of that, I'm going to try to put links in this thing, or just look at my channel as much as you can, the more recent videos. Jamie Walden, War is Coming. I'll try to link that. Young man, military. I'm telling you what, that was about an hour sermon, lecture, message, whatever you want to call it. And 7 years ago, God started telling him things over and over again. Same thing, same message over and over again. But he said, "But don't say anything, don't say anything." So and now is the time to speak. And he spoke, and he said, it's heavy. It's a heavy, heavy message. One of the heaviest ones I've heard in a long time. I advise you to listen to that one and heed it. So, okay, so God, I mentioned God Rules, that channel, God Rules. I'll try to find Jamie's name. mentioned Wrangler Star. Look at Wrangler Star stuff on the hurricane. He's had several videos. He probably got, I'd say, about 10 by now, up to 10 possibly. Now, did I do the Jamie one on here or not? I don't know. Don't think I did. No. Go to my history though. Okay, so as far as the number of people dead, I talked about that a little bit. I want to go back to that. My personal assessment from Katrina was that there were probably 80,000 people dead, and that was more the combined with the actual numbers I was tabulating. 200 here on Target, 200 here on Walmart, 200 here on Kmart. Dead bodies. That's 6 right there in a little town. Any little town that had a Kmart. I guess there are people on top of every single Kmart, every single Walmart, and every single Target. Okay, every building that you could get on top of, their bodies on top of those buildings. Put that over a 2 or 3 or 4, Louisiana, Texas, whatever state area that was. To Louisiana, Mississippi. Multiply that times every town, every small town, every large town. Yeah, a lot of people. So same thing's happening here. Official total 213. Bear says this. He says in Swannanoa, North Carolina, they went through 10 to 12,000 body bags. Why is that not being reported? Well, like I said, they were stacking bodies in ambulances like cordwood. Now, Katrina said they would bring an empty reefer in. Reefer meaning a refrigerated semi truck, right? A reefer. When somebody says reefer, that's what they mean. They don't mean smoking something. They mean a reefer, a trailer. They're bringing them in at night where people were asleep. They'd fill them with bodies. They'd pull them out the next night or whenever they fill them up, they pull them out. And they never pull them out during the day. They always pull. You simply see a semi out there. People are not smart enough to look at, this is a different semi. Different. Look at that. Write the numbers down. Take a number. License plate. No, they wouldn't notice the difference. They could have different plates on from different states and they wouldn't notice. The serial number on the trailer, they don't notice that kind of stuff. So anyway, they bring new trailers in at night, during the night, park them, take the other one out. What do they do with the dead bodies? Who knows? Beat them to aliens, reptilians, whatever. And when I say aliens, I don't mean they're aliens. I mean, people are dumb enough to think that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Just don't be that way. When somebody says aliens, they're referring to Nephilim or demonic, interdimensional beings. So sorry if you're that lack of perception, whatever. I've talked about it often enough, so I shouldn't have to explain myself every time I talk. Okay, so anyway, when that goes back 30 years, I knew that. So don't accuse me of being dumb. All right, so point is that a lot of bodies. What do they do with the bodies? Well, Harvey, they had those floating FEMA barges, come here, we'll give you safe housing until you take it out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and dump you. Yeah, up by Hawaii or wherever. From the whole things. Okay, so here's one thing that Bear says. I'm going to read this. Okay, Homeland Security, FEMA squandered the funds. They have no funds available. They got billions of dollars to give to people overseas, obviously. But they're pushing a political agenda here. We're 3 weeks out from the election. That should have no bearing whatsoever on the recovery efforts in Appalachia. But unfortunately, it does. That's an indicator of how far this great nation has fallen. And the last thing I'm going to say to you is, because I'm going to have to jump, brother. He had to leave. This is toward the end of the interview. We have to do a much better job of differentiating between the beast system of the federal government and the American people. The American people are by and large incredible. The amount of resilience, ingenuity, and brotherly love that I have observed in the last 3 weeks in Appalachia is stunning. And I'll tell you this too. Our God is God, and he is incredibly real, and he was meeting needs in the moment as we were praying and asking him for things, literally in the moment they were arriving. He says, if you ask whatever for my glory in my name, It shall be given to you. I was walking with one of my guys through our distro yard in Jonesboro, Tennessee. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey, we just got a call from Fender Farms. They got 100 people. They got nowhere to sleep." I was like, "Well, let's set them up. We got tents. We got sleeping bags." He goes, "Yeah, but we don't have any mattresses or cots." Something like that. And I said, "Okay, we'll get it." He said, "I'm walking around behind the semi." And there's a 24-foot trailer backing up. Guy comes out of Michigan. I stopped and I talked to the guy and said, "Hey, buddy, what do you got here?" He goes, "I got 104 mats and cots." I said, "Don't even unload. Just go straight to Fender Farm." Boom. In the moment. Here's another one. She says, a woman showed up. She was a local. She'd been out by herself like for 7 days. Looked like hell. It looked like she'd been through some serious shit. And one of my guys, Bob, is praying with her, and she said, I need a generator. And he says, "I'm sorry, we're out of generator. We just sent 22 generators out this morning." We sent 22 generators out this morning. And she says, breaks down sobbing. And Bob says, like, let's just pray about it. "Let me pray for you." He says, "Father, you got a daughter here that needs a generator. If you could just bring us a generator, we really appreciate it." He finishes praying, and a guy comes flying into the yard from Florida in a Tacoma with a 12K generator. He says, "I got here as soon as I could." Sorry. And TJ says everybody just started sobbing. Everybody was there to start sobbing. That was like a Friday or so, Saturday night. They were telling the story. He was telling the story to a bunch of young guys. They said probably their faith was not as strong as it could be. And another guy works. He says, "Hey, can anybody help me unload? I got 12 generators." And I looked at the guy. I said, "Oh, like the 12 apostles?" I looked at another guy. I said, "Oh, like the 12 tribes?" And everybody just started sobbing. I was like, "Somebody go unload this guy's 12 generators and get him going." So in spite of the federal level neglect, God was meeting every need at the moment. People would pray, their answer was there. Just amazing. So what I'm saying here is that darkness is going to get darker and light's going to get lighter. Bad's going to get worse and evil's going to get worse and more powerful, and good is going to become more powerful. There's going to be more of a head-to-head. What happened here? I mean, you have the federal government. What's it, the 88th or 82nd Airborne? You're trying the Screaming Eagles. Maybe it's just a National Guard unit, but still, that unit, they left. They were scared of the militia. These are our military troops that they send to Afghanistan, let them die over and get by IEDs, improvised explosive devices. IEDs will blow up a whole. I mean, I saw one, a M1 tank. There's so much explosives when the explosion was so large that you didn't see anything left of the tank afterwards. I don't know, maybe it moved it, or you didn't see it flying or anything. Maybe it was a stupid CGI. I don't know. No, it looked real. Anyway, point is, they'll send these troops over there, but they pulled them out here saying, "Oh, some guy had a gun." Well, damn it! What do you think they're doing? The sheriff told people to go armed and have the safety off because of the looting. My daughter said, "Yeah, somebody looted there in Swannanoa." She goes, but she said, "But I don't think they lasted long." I love it. It will give you a free relocation services. That's what my wife said around here. We got the Ozark Plateau free relocation services. Got our free Appalachian relocation services hog farm. All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna get off of that one. So those are some stories there. And then Wrangler said he was there one night. He was there for an hour and a half. They were telling stories like that about, somebody needed something desperately, and then it would show up. They'd pray and it would show up. So that's been going on. God is working, and he doesn't speak English. He doesn't speak Hebrew. He doesn't speak Japanese. God understands all languages. Let me tell you that. You want to pray to him, just pray to him. But, he understands what you're saying. I mean, God knows the thoughts and intents of the heart, right? There's 8 billion people on earth. He can understand everybody's language at every time, 24 hours a day, and know what you're thinking and speaking. He's not a finite God. He's infinite. So call him what you want. Use your silly names, special names if you want, but don't misunderestimate him. Okay, I gotta get off that. All right. What the heck? Come on. I'm not going to be on here much longer, so I hope. I don't want to be. I was going to come back to another topic. Anybody want to tell me what it was? Hi, yo. Okay, rightly dividing between the citizens of the United States and the federal government. I think that was examples. Number of dead, I covered that. Let me flip through these. I got screenshots here, so I can read the text on them, the transcripts. Number of body bag, number dead. We're not ever going to know because, like I said, their bodies ended up in Tennessee. Entire villages of people were gone. One woman survived out of, probably 100, 200 people. In another case, there were 44 people. 2 of them committed suicide. So there were 42 people out of, whole settlement. He said, we're going to be finding bodies in here for 1,000 years. Oh, just going to briefly, I want to talk about the toxicity. Bad. You had bodies, sewage, PVC chemical plant wiped out into the river. Supposedly 250 55-gallon drums of nuclear waste into the mix. What's that going to do? Were the barrels all open conveniently or not conveniently? And is that going to have a Superfund hazmat area? We got to come out and clean it up with bulldozers. While we're doing that, we'll strip mine. Yeah, that's what I see happening. And this Billy Boyd is great. Billy Bond, with his interview with TJ, Bear Independent, is great. He's talking about plans to remediate the soil and stuff. And he knows it can be done. I know it can be done too. But are they going to have time to do it? Are they going to be able to do it before somebody gets toxified from the toxic levels of the silt and sewage and radioactive stuff? Yes, it can be remediated, but are they going to allow you to do that? So what I see here is we're going to have a head-to-head butting of the powers that be, the powers that think they be, the powers that want to be, and the powers that really are, between Almighty God, Almighty Yah. How it's going to play out, I don't know. I'm not going to make any. I'm not making any prediction as to what's going to happen, but I can see it can be getting real ugly, really quick. So. I'm just going to pull this stuff from Tony here real quick. Interesting, the King of Kings, on this particular Feast of Tabernacles, on the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood up and cried out, if anyone thirsts, let him come to me. I'll give him rivers of living water. But just so happens that this time, October, Blood Red Super Harvest Moon is in September, which usually is not the case. Usually the Feast of Tabernacles doesn't happen after the fact like that. It's September. So actually, and this is where he has an article on mysticism of the Feast of Tabernacles. Introduction. What's really prophetic about the Feast of Tabernacles this year is that it is well known that God required Israel to bring in the latter harvest before they could celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. This year, before the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a lot of times actually in September as opposed to October, was after the Blood Red Super Harvest Moon. Okay. So, what does that mean? Come on. Oh. We actually have met the requirements This is him talking, not from the article. Actually meets the requirements for God to come and dwell with us again, that I might dwell among them, that I might dwell among them. That's what's the reason for the Feast of Tabernacles. Do it in this sequence, do it, obey this, that I may come and dwell among you. Okay. He says that's been fulfilled in figurative way here, to dwell with his people. So who knows? I've said for many years that Passover was fulfilled in time, in reality, on schedule, on the day of Passover. Pentecost was fulfilled in time, in reality, in the life of in the life of the church, on the day of Pentecost, when the day of Pentecost was fully come. Read the book of Acts. When the day of Pentecost was fully come, the Holy Spirit fell and tongues and all that. So the law was written on our hearts on Pentecost, because the Sinai, Pentecost designates or commemorates the giving of the law on Mount Sinai. Well, on Pentecost, the Holy Spirit was given, and every Pentecost is a very interesting thing that a guy pointed out, a farmer. He pointed out the number of times in his life, and he's seen that, the Holy Spirit works very powerfully at the time of Pentecost. And it did with me, that's when I was sitting in the back of this church looking forward to listening to these good sermons the rest of my life. And I was like, you don't fit in here. You never did. You never will. Go toward Bolivar and start a new work. Okay. I was sobbing, Pastor's probably up there going, what's wrong with that guy back there? Anyway, so, very fascinating. So, and I said this too, like I said earlier, Tabernacles, if you do it correctly, you set up a tent, you live in the tent for a week. A lot of times it's pretty dang cold, extremely cold. I've said that before many times. So good time to do it. Have your camping gear. You never know when you may need to go camping. Okay. I have gear that's good to 40 below zero. I think everybody should do that. Maybe not that extreme, but have to have some good sleeping bag, not just junk. Don't go to Walmart. Don't buy anything from Walmart. Don't even bother. Get on Amazon or eBay or something. Buy something real. Buy something real. If you don't know what's real, contact somebody that has good information, or talk to me. You never know when you have to go sleep outside and be homeless. Here's one thing that I think is fascinating, man. I'm telling you what. A lot of people are going to be, a lot of people right now are homeless there in the Appalachians, and it's getting cold. It's already winter there. Below freezing already in a lot of places. Below freezing in a lot of places, right? So hopefully they have hopefully all these people that have bought a car, trucks and trailer loads of stuff, they brought some good enough stuff to survive. I'd like to see really good gear, but nobody asked me. That's fine, whatever. One of the things that would be helpful is if they would use these stoves. They're the one, we need buddy heaters. We need buddy heaters. Buddy heaters are going to kill a lot of people. Why do I say that? Because every single year in Denver, I lived in Denver, I grew up in Denver. Every single year, we'd read in the Rocky Mountain News and the Denver Post, so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so and his son died from, going up hunting or camping. And it was cold, so they had a propane heater in their tent. They didn't wake up because when you use up all your oxygen, guess what? You just go to sleep forever. You go to sleep. Boom. They'll freeze the zippers. If it's really cold, the zippers will freeze shut. Won't be able to get out. Use up all your oxygen. Replace it with water and carbon dioxide. You're not going to wake up. You're going to be dead. Your lungs, you're going to be freezing. Don't do that. I hate those things. And a lot of people are probably not going to make it through the winter because of that. Here's a buddy heater. Oh boy, propane. Yeah, oh yeah, they're okay to use inside. Safe to use indoors. No, they're not. I hate that. One Crazy Drake's YouTube channel. They bought one of the mini of our Amish cabins and you can buy, and I remember the production, here's where I put the tank, a 100-pound tank outside, and drilled the wall and seal it and put in this ventless propane heater. Well, before longer, his wife was about dead from black mold in the place because the moisture went up and it wasn't vented. So everything up in their loft, all their life belongings were had to throw away. They had to just get rid of them because they couldn't. His wife was dying from mold in her lungs and body, and that's very dangerous. Everybody knows that by now. So, anyway, just saying, those buddy heaters. I hate propane heaters. I hate the fact they're using them. I wish they would use a in-ground rocket stove, a Dakota Fire Hole rocket stove would save a lot of lives. healthy, free. They got all kinds of free fuel around there of all kinds. Okay, so that's about it. I'm gonna itch and Kate. It's the unway. Now there's Dane Covington. No, Dane. Billy Boyd talks about him anyway. This guy, he's a geoengineer guy, Dane Pennington, I think. Anyway, Inkton something. He says that what the amount of water that fell there was the equivalent of all the water going over Niagara Falls for 2 full years, 24 hours a day. That's how much water fell. How he figured that up, I don't know, but I'm sure he did a pretty good job of it. But that's pretty amazing to think of that. You got entire valleys, 10 to 20 foot, 30 foot wall of mud with thousands of bodies underneath it. In those valleys were a 30 foot wall of mud from 2 years of Niagara rainfalls coming through. And these areas are being bulldozed over the top. They're just bulldozing entire areas. So, yeah. So my daughter's there. I saw her again yesterday for a few minutes. And glad she's getting back. She's heading back now. So anyway, I'm going to can this one. News from the can. This is news from the can with R. Crosby Lyles, the Armageddon line. So thank you. Blessings. One of the most critical things was communication. I got to say that too. Like I said it earlier, TJ Bear Independent said that without communication, you don't have logistics, and without logistics, you don't have anything. You can't know where to go unless somebody has. There's a whole community of people that were cut off. I think it was in Tennessee. I'm not sure, but whole community of people. The only communication with the outside world for like a whole week was a 5-watt Baofeng radio. So if you're going to get a radio, learn how to use it. Don't just get one. All right. Anyway, that's about it. Good night. God bless everybody. Hasta lasagna. Hasta la vista, baby. Any questions before I get off here? That dog is irritating up here. Filthy thing. I'll get back to my book someday. The book, whatever. Pasta. No, don't eat pasta. Don't eat keto. Eat keto, not pasta. All right. Just kidding. I'm the one that said pasta lasagna. Hasta la vista, baby. All right, anyway, bye-bye. See you, Jim. God bless. See you, Gad. Bye-bye.